Kansas City, Missouri became the center of the fight world tonight, and what went down inside that octagon was nothing short of madness. From brutal knockouts to emotional retirements, UFC Fight Night delivered a roller coaster that nobody could have predicted. Fighters came in with everything to prove, and some left with their dreams shattered right there on the canvas. The crowd was electric, the stakes were high, and by the end of the night, it was clear. This card was about much more than wins and losses. It was about survival. From Ikram Aliskerov bouncing back with a monstrous first-round finish, to Anthony Smith's shocking final walk into retirement, every single fight felt like a story unfolding in real time. Legends were made, dreams were crushed, and a few dark horses just announced themselves to the world in violent fashion. If you thought this would be a quiet night, you weren't paying attention. Let's dive into the chaos and relive the moments that lit Kansas City on fire. The first big statement of the night came fast and violent. Ikram Aliskerov, coming off a brutal loss to Robert Whittaker, marched into the octagon with something to prove, and he made sure nobody would forget his name. It took him less than a round to dismantle Andre Muniz, scoring a vicious TKO that sent shockwaves through the middleweight division. After months of frustration, canceled fights, visa issues, and a rough Ramadan training camp, Ikram finally had his moment of redemption. And it wasn't just about the win. It was about the fire he brought into that cage. After spending nearly a year sidelined, angry, and stewing over missed opportunities, Ikram unleashed all of it in a performance that felt like a personal message to the UFC. He didn't just beat Muniz, he overwhelmed him. He smashed through the distance, walked Muniz down, and made sure there was no doubt about who the better fighter was. The MMA world took notice immediately. Belal Muhammad shouted him out, calling it a massive bounce back. Alonzo Menafield said Ikram was blessed with freakish power. Kevin Iole, a veteran journalist, was blown away by the intensity. Everyone saw it. Ikram isn't here to hang around the middle of the pack. He's hunting for the top. After the fight, Ikram didn't waste the moment. He called for a quick return, aiming to fight again by June or July, and even set his sights on a possible rematch with Whittaker. But this time, with a full camp and no last-minute chaos. If tonight was any indication, Ikram Aliskerov is not just back. He's coming for blood, and the top 10 better be ready. If anyone thought Nicholas Dalby would be an easy out, they were dead wrong. Heading into UFC Kansas City, Dalby had built a reputation as one of the toughest, most durable welterweights on the roster. A man who simply doesn't break. 29 professional fights and not a single stoppage loss until tonight. Randy Brown, with his surgical striking and ice-cold patience, shattered that record in brutal fashion, knocking Dalby out cold in the second round with a missile of a right hand. The fight wasn't without drama early on. Dalby came out strong, pushing the pace, even managing to land some solid shots in the first round. But Brown stayed composed, using his insane reach advantage and sniper-like jab to slowly break Dalby down from range. Then came the second round, and the moment everyone in Kansas City felt in their bones. A clean, devastating shot that flattened Dalby and left no questions. The referee had no choice but to jump in, waving it off as Brown casually walked away, knowing he had just made history. Fighter reactions poured in instantly. Mike Perry couldn't resist a joke about his legendary broken nose, while Belal Muhammad said the finish looked straight out of a Max Holloway highlight reel. Terrence McKinney called it fight of the night, and Michael Chiesa praised Brown's distance control and precision. Even Kenny Florian and Aljamain Sterling chimed in, recognizing the performance as one of Brown's career best. Randy Brown didn't just win. He put the entire welterweight division on notice. And with calls already starting for him to fight Michael "Venom" Page next, one thing's clear. The new dangerous version of Randy Brown has officially arrived, and he's looking for blood. There's nothing like fighting at home, but there's also nothing like the pressure that comes with it. David Onama walked into the octagon in Kansas City with the weight of his hometown on his shoulders, and he handled it like a man built for the moment. Against a dangerous and highly skilled striker like Giga Chikadze, Onama didn't just survive Hami, he thrived. Over 3 rounds, he mixed it up brilliantly, blending striking pressure and composure to walk away with a unanimous decision win that had the Kansas City crowd roaring. It wasn't all smooth sailing. The first round was close, with Onama needing to find his rhythm. But between rounds, his corner lit a fire under him, telling him to wake up, pick up the pressure, and show Giga he wasn't going to fold. From that point on, it was all Onama. He checked the kicks, closed the distance, and outworked Giga on the feet and in the clinch. It wasn't flashy, but it was gritty. It was the kind of performance that shows not just skill, but maturity. Big names like Kamaru Usman and Aljamain Sterling reacted immediately, praising Onama's poise but criticizing some of the commentary calling for stalling, reminding fans that smart, composed fighting isn't boring, it's winning. And tonight, in front of his friends, family, and an electric hometown crowd, David Onama proved that he belongs in the conversation with the division's best. Onama wasn't just fighting Giga, he was fighting the weight of expectations, the noise, the nerves. And he beat them all. Now riding a 4-fight win streak, David Onama has made it clear, Kansas City has a new rising star. Sometimes the fight game isn't fair. Sometimes the ending isn't the one you imagined. Tonight, Anthony Lionheart Smith stepped into the octagon for what would become the final fight of his career. And Zhang Mingyang didn't give him an inch of mercy. In just one brutal round, Zhang overwhelmed Smith with ruthless ground and pound, forcing the referee to step in and call it off. And just like that, after years of wars, battles, and unforgettable moments, Anthony Smith's journey came to an emotional close. Smith had promised he wouldn't go out easy, and he didn't. But Zhang Mingyang is a terrifying force right now, riding a 12-fight win streak with every victory coming by first-round stoppage. Tonight was no different. He showed respect for Smith before the fight, admitting he had struggled mentally, knowing he might be retiring a fighter he deeply admired. But once the cage door closed, he did what warriors do. He gave Smith everything he had. The MMA world exploded with reactions. Conor McGregor posted a laughing emoji while Dylan Dennis mocked Smith's retirement, stripping him of his Lionheart nickname. Meanwhile, veterans like Rafael dos Anjos and Ariel Helwani criticized the late stoppage, suggesting referee Jason Herzog let the punishment go on too long. But through the noise, one thing stood out: an outpouring of respect. Fighters like Glover Teixeira, Stephen Thompson, Chris Weidman, and Derek Brunson paid tribute to Smith's long, gritty career, reminding fans that few ever even make it this far. Anthony Smith didn't get the fairy tale ending, but he got something arguably more valuable: the respect of his peers, the love of the fans, and the satisfaction of knowing he gave this brutal sport everything he had. Every last drop. The main event delivered everything it promised. And then some. Ian Garry stepped into the octagon tonight as the rising star, the undefeated hype train, the future of the welterweight division. But Carlos Prates made sure he earned every second of it. Across 3 rounds of chaos, violence, and near disaster, Garry survived an absolute war to extend his unbeaten streak, walking away with a hard-fought unanimous decision, but not without a few new scars. The fight started sharp for Garry with his usual slick movement and pinpoint counters, but Prates refused to be intimidated. He marched Garry down, exchanged heavy shots, and in the final round, nearly snatched the whole fight away with a vicious ground and pound assault that had the entire arena holding its breath. For a few terrifying seconds, it looked like Garry might lose it all: his streak, his momentum, his title hopes. But somehow, through grit and survival instinct, he hung on until the final bell. Reactions flooded in immediately. Henry Cejudo said he couldn't believe Prates didn't finish Garry when he had the chance. Derek Brunson joked that Prates might need a cigarette after that brutal last round. Terrence McKinney warned Garry to be careful. Prates showed he's dangerous everywhere, in every position. Even Bilal Muhammad gave a shout-out to Prates' gas tank, joking that maybe cigarettes aren't so bad after all. Conor McGregor simply called it a great fight. And coming from him, that's a stamp of approval. In the post-fight interview, Garry wasted no time setting his next target. In just a few weeks, he's heading to Canada as the official backup for the welterweight title fight, And if anything goes wrong, he's ready to step in and seize his moment. Tonight wasn't the flawless showcase Garry wanted, but it might have been even more important. It showed that when the storm comes, when the blood's pouring and the walls are closing in, Ian Garry doesn't fold. He fights.